I contribute with this can be icon, strain object, and it's a part of the work that I was developing. It's also it's part of the process that I was researching to produce my project here for Athens and also for Kassel for this Documenta 14. You see is a kind of classical icon that is coming for the classical way of representing everything, that finally it become a kind of a standard way of representing the reality, in this case representing the body, the human body, no? And most of the references, of course, they are coming from the classic, maybe 500 years before Christ, we say the Western culture. And that I was doing is the object itself, formally, is a 3D printing. It's a plastic object that simulates to be like a marble piece, and the only that I made is to, in some way, I'm coming very much for this hacker language. When you know the system, when you know the back orifice of the system, the whole of the system, but also when you know the language, you have the capacity to hack the language itself and hack the system. Can be for the worse or can be for the better. It never was like an icon, like a classical sculpture, like out of the standard, this classical standard that they have, like an anorexic way of representing, or somebody they had the body in different proportion that everybody. In the reality, we try to transfer this reality into the art world, or into the art way of representing every aspect of that reality. Nothing needs to be the same, but we, the artists, we create a standard. And now I use this way of using the language to transforming the reality into a very specific condition under control, to say that maybe this is not always the better way to representing the reality, no? My piece here, and my contribution start with a hover engraving that is very funny, because there are 3 angels, and in front they have a model, it's a woman, but it doesn't look like a human, because they have different breaths. Not 2, but maybe 4 or 5. One of the angels is trying to make the drawing, and he's representing exactly how is in the drawing that formatting. But the other angel only is doing a portrait, only take the face. Just looking this idea of representing the beauty, but is putting out of the picture, out of the frame, the rest of the body that maybe he believes or she believes that is not the standard way of representing the whole body. So bit a bit, we are using this technology, this tool or something like that, to reduce the reality to something that can be consumed in some way. And for me, it's a very good metaphor that happens now in the internet. So I use art, or I believe that art can have the capacity to transform in our reality, can help us like a tool to interpreting the reality. And for me, art is a create a space of resistance to a world that everybody have more hierarchy, but it's going to be specifically standardized, globalized, and totally under control. Maybe you can use this just like a tool to rethink in this idea why we look like the same. Now we have the capacity to transform our body. It's not something that it's not about representation itself. We are self-representing ourselves. We taking selfie. The people is taking selfie, millions and millions of selfies every day. We call portrait before, auto-portrait in the art history, but they all look the same. And this is, for me, is a simplification of our world, simplification of the reality, and maybe we can use different tools and different way of be represented. But I am using some, I can say, tools that for me they are very important in the work. Like I am talking about copyright, I am talking about authorship, I am talking about canon, I am talking about the capacity of the technology to control us actually. I am talking about the process of digitalizing our reality, every aspect of our formal world. For me, it's not interesting the cover of the image, but the structure behind. Because then, if you show the structure to the public here, they can use in this structure the language, this capacity to learn from that language, for any other aspect of the reality, no? To interpreting. If you are visiting, especially Athens, you are taking millions of impact. You take a tram to the center to Sintagma. Every second, you have you need to or you receive impact, visual impact, millions of visual impact in your telephone, in the training cell, outside the publicity or something like that. But we never have the time like before to stay in the museum in front of the picture to see what is behind. Why somebody is putting a football player in underwear? What is behind? It's only selling clothes, or they are selling something like a style, or there is a philosophy behind in this capitalist culture.